Serving Tampa Bay since 1954. The Heritage Station. WTMP, Egypt Lake, Tampa, Clearwater, 97.5 in Pinellas.
There we go. Is that on?
Alrighty. Boy, we got a good show for you today. And I'm not
Bragging?
talking about, regular good show. This is an extra good show.
Woo!
And we got a good topic too. Somebody asked me down in the parking lot, what's our topic today? And I said, Columbus Day. Yay.
You mean Indigenous Day?
No, I meant Columbus Day. How you roll up on a show, got folks on it when you get there, fight your way off the boat, and holler, I discovered it. I'm just saying that's the way they did stuff back in those days. But anyway, got a great show for you. We're going to talk about some stuff that many folks out there probably have not heard some of the stuff I'm going to give you today. And in a room full of black folks last night, they had black folks and white folks and Hispanic. They had a little bit of everybody, at the NAA Freedom Fund for dinner. We're not going to talk extensively about that, but just had to call it out. Had a lot of folks there. And I know this is my scenario, and I'm going to give it to you guys early, and we ain't even started the show yet.
Oh, boy.
We got folks who live history. So stuff that happened while you are here and you see it on the news and if not in real life, you see everyday people talking about it. Then there's history that happened, during your mama's, your daddy's or grandparents' time, where you heard them talk about it and explain it and do everything that goes along with that. Then you got history that happened hundreds of years ago, which you can only get from a book. And we're going to kind of, gloss over and kind of talk about the three different kind of history. Because for black folks, written by us, taught by us, and as often as could be, left us out. I'm just saying, history is still history. You kind of put in who you want to talk about, and leave out who you want to leave out. And a lot of times, that happened. And now that there's this big thing called critical race theory that keeps coming up in conversation
everywhere
for black folks and white folks and Hispanic folks, and everybody is talking about something that, for all intents and purposes, it's kind of like Kwanzaa.
Oh, come on, Eddie. Don't go Eddie. Come on now.
Kwanzaa is a black holiday.
Made up.
Christmas. It ain't been around 100 years.
No, it's made up recently.
Doing good to be around 50 years. But I'm just saying, it has a point of view, and it's in its infancy, and at some time it's probably going to grow, and in 100 years they're going to be acting like Kwanzaa been around forever, and it hasn't. But I'm older than Kwanzaa.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'm just saying.
You're older than Google.
No. Yeah, I'm older. Yeah, I am older. I'm older than Google, and I am older than Microsoft.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying, when I was born, none of that stuff was around. The
Well,
the internet wasn't around.
That was the 80s,
all that stuff. Let me go ahead and start the show so we can get into
get
into what we got to do. Anyway, this is Porch Talk Radio, your favorite radio show. I know it because if you hear me say it, we're both on the same page.
Absolutely.
That makes a statement.
Shazam.
So if it ain't one of your favorite Saturday talk shows or one of your favorite talk shows, it's got to be in there somewhere because the fact that you can hear me, we'll communicate.
Top of the list.
Communicate. Okay. So if you want to call in during the show, call-in number here at WTMP, 813-251-9867, 813-251-9867. If you want to text me after the show, you want to call me after the show, talk to me about anything, I'm open. I got good ears. Eddie Adams Jr. cell phone number 813-12. Email me Eddie, EDDIE, at porchtalkradio.com. And Gabriel is here, Tim is here. We got the whole gang here, and we're entertaining you as we normally do. But
with the truth.
This week, the conversation is going to be, I would say graphic, but you can't graphic. I can graphically kind of describe it over the radio and have you picture it in your mind.
There you go.
Which some people say, it used to be good because it used to be a time that's the only way people got, vision. Because all the shows wasn't on TV. Matter of fact, a lot of shows wasn't on TV. They was on radio. And so they had to describe what was going on and describe what you were seeing. And you had and that's the way in which you made it real. Anyway, so let's do this. Christopher Columbus, who most of my schooling, which did happen at a black school, because I was in first grade from kindergarten all the way to ninth grade before we integrated. So it was taught in a black school by black teachers. And they told me this dude, Christopher Columbus, had his 3 ships. He hopped on them. He was going to India. He was going, technically the other way around. He supposed to be going on the other side of the world. But if you sail any at all, or you spend any time on the water, they have something they call trade winds that pretty much blow east and west around the planet. All the different oceans, they got winds, and those winds. So evidently, he was European. So, pretty much white guy. Hispanic, we ain't getting into ethnicity and all that stuff. I'm just saying. He was European. Because they was the only one that was able to discover stuff. I'm just saying.
Well, they had money.
Because my first time I went to Mexico, I went to South America, and I was young, and I could not figure out why these Mexicans and South Americans, Colombians and Peruvians and all these other places, that have these statues, and I ain't talking about East Island. They got statues of all these black folks. I know they were black folks because their nose were wider than mine. And when you make a statue, you kind of, pronounce the nappy hair and pronounce the wide nose and thick lips. So even though, I may not have been being told that these were black folks.
You saw it.
They were black. They were blacker than me. But all these statues, the next question I'm asking myself, I'm not like a young explorer. I'm just seeing them because it's all a part of their history. And this is pre-slavery, pre-transatlantic slave trading route stuff. Now, back to Columbus. Now, in my own research and study and whereabouts, I've come about, Columbus wasn't met friendly.
No.
The people that was here when he got here,
indigenous,
had spears and bows and some of the other stuff.
Cannibalistic appetites too.
But now this is what you don't get in the books. Africans from different parts of Africa not only went to South America, Mexico,
they got around,
and parts of the United States of America, they found Viking stuff here. So, but, the Africans had been here. The Native Americans kind of walked across the ice bridge, back when they came over. And the Vikings had been here, and probably several other groups. But when the Europeans showed up, white folks, I'm just saying, when Columbus came, we discover America. And America is not named after Columbus. It's named after another Italian dude by the name of Amerigo Vespucci. That's who America got the name after. So even they say, well, Columbus didn't discover it. Now this guy came after Columbus, but that's okay. We won't get into
as history goes.
we won't get into all that.
The semantics.
Yeah, we won't get into the semantics.
That's a pretty word.
Of the reality of actually what happened. And what they did was they found African spears, some African masks, some other stuff. Now this is stuff that had been around for 300 years before Columbus got here. It ain't like, the Africans came, went back to Africa, and then next year Columbus came. 300 years. Same with Mexico and South America and some of these other places where they had literally been hundreds of years. See, according to all the books when I was coming up, I mean, the writers were all white, but they were still textbooks in the school system. For some reason or another, black folks were discovered when they became monetary, economic products of the white system. I'm just saying. Now this is not critical race theory. This is stuff that if you do a little bit of poking yourself, you can find out for yourself. Like there's certain parts of South America where they got, on the beach, they got sidewalks. And the sidewalks got 3 stripes. They got a black stripe, they got a white stripe, and they got a red stripe. And when I went to South America, the parts I went to, I said, well, what the stripes are for? They said the stripes are for the people. That they got white people that been there. They got the Native American, the indigenous people, and they got the Africans. And the Africans been there for hundreds and hundreds of years before the slave, all the black folks that ended up in South America and Central America and all those American countries wasn't running from slavery. They actually got on the boat.
Eddie, you're messing up history already.
Got in the trade winds. Had enough food and supplies and stuff, and the trade wind literally blew them across the ocean. Yes, it's possible. Hell, that's how the Vikings did it. All those people back those days who had access to boats and watercrafts and whatever, the only issue was having enough food, supplies. Many folks ended up on our shores before the Nina, the Pina, Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
So Eddie, are you saying that black people were able to get on boats and get here before the history books are saying right now?
Oh hell yeah! Well. Okay, let me put a pin in that because for hundreds of years they made it like black folk were dumb, stupid, ignorant people. Now I got to put a pin in that for what I was just saying about Columbus, because the first university on the planet was in Africa.
So we're not being told that one.
I'm telling you. The Egyptians was studying the moon and the stars and crop rotation.
And those black Egyptians.
And okay, now, Gabriel said that in a joking manner.
No, not at all. There really was black Egyptians back then.
There were no other Egyptians other than black Egyptians.
But the history books ain't saying that now.
History books make you think that the Arab people,
that's right.
Arab Indian culture people have always been there.
Mm-hmm.
I am telling you, back in the day, if you look at the pharaohs and you look at those people in those tombs with braided hair, white folks just start braiding their hair. I'm just telling y'all that now.
60s.
Y'all just start braiding your hair. Them folks been in the ground. They've been dead for 5,000 or 6,000 years.
Yeah, centuries.
With braided hair. So
that's crazy.
I'm just saying,
Whew. You should rocking the boat, Eddie.
I am rocking the boat, but I gotta tell you guys some stuff because for a long time, people have done a lot to make black folks think for somehow, some way they was inferior people. We was dumb, we was stupid, we were brutes.
Just for breeding.
But I'm just telling you something now. Socrates and all those very, very, very smart Greek and Latin and all them folks back in the days, all of those people studied in Egypt. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of that stuff they was talking about in them books and diatribes and all the stuff that they read and make them so Greek, Greek godlike. That stuff wasn't theirs. They kind of got information and they went back home and said, well, look at what I discovered.
So where was the first university again, Eddie?
It was in Egypt.
Oh my goodness.
Alex.
Yes.
What was the name of it? Remember?
Alexandria.
The word university came from
Alexandria.
Egypt. And back in the day, you got to think of it, the stuff they were studying back then, nowhere else in the world, Japan, China, Europe, Asia, nowhere, North America was still indigenous people. Would they have anybody? Look at the buildings. The stuff that is in Egypt.
The architecture is amazing.
Is thousands of years older than the Colosseum and all those great monuments of Rome. You got to think, how did these dumbass people do all this stuff? Evidently, they weren't as dumb as the history books. Kept trying to make us believe. It had to be a mental capacity to figure out all this stuff without white folks. I'm just saying. We're back to Columbus again, discovering stuff.
That was already discovered.
Right. It's like me going downstairs and discovering a Cadillac in the parking lot, or Mercedes.
Well, if you got a good enough PR team,
Mercedes or BMW, No, I ain't discovering no Cadillac. I'm discovering a Benz.
Ah, there we go.
Rolls
Now we're
Royce,
talking.
You see what I'm saying? I'm discovering it. It's brand new and shiny.
No Ford or Chevy.
And shiny. And brand new and shiny.
There you go.
And full of gas.
Oh my goodness, you're going all over.
I'm just saying, it's a lot of stuff that we have been taught and we have been told.
Daily.
In a system where there's an awful lot of black folks take stuff on someone else's saying. You were dumb and stupid because somebody told you were dumb and stupid, not because you were dumb and stupid. And given our capacity to do stuff, there's an awful lot of things. And I try to tell you every week, some stuff that has happened in history. It's not black
it's factual.
History. Yeah, it's not black history, not white history.
Yeah, there you go.
Just history. But a lot of these products are patented by folks who are not educated. A lot of these uneducated, not ever went to college folks figured out a lot of stuff. And what happens is good, kind-hearted white folks come along and say, I can make some money off that.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I? The fact that I got it from this black guy don't mean nothing. You know, I don't never have to pay him. I ain't never got to pay his family. Me and my family would be rich for hundreds of years
Mm-hmm.
off of this idea. That's why a lot of folks and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong about what I'm doing. It's a lot of folks. You know, I'm not beating up white folks.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends is a white male. And he's in the room with us. So
He's a big guy, so that'd be nice too.
Yeah. But that's not what I'm doing. What I am doing is I'm telling you that for hundreds and hundreds of years, there is a ideology that's based on making you think that you and your people are dumb and stupid.
And, you know, and to all you've said, a lot of just information and factual stuff you brought to the table just now. Keisha King this week came out and said a public service announcement to black Americans who are for CRT. You do not realize this doctrine relegates your ancestors' American history to slavery and Jim Crow. That's it. They never talk about all the black successes, American successes that have happened. They want you to believe you are perpetually nothing and hopeless. And Eddie, you're saying that a lot of black people have helped in civilization. Period. But that's not being talked about today, Eddie.
There's kingdoms in Africa, and one thing they could say, Africa as a continent
It's huge.
has been. Wait, okay, it's a joke because if you look at a map of the United States, and if you look at a map of Africa,
Oh my goodness.
they make you want to think that Africa and the United States are about the same size.
It's not true.
You can take 8 countries.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
You can take China, the United States,
Mm-hmm.
all those Great Britain and Europe and Spain and Portugal and all. You can put all those countries into Africa and have a bunch left. Have space left to plug in a couple small ones.
Why is that, Eddie? Why are we being told that the black country is just another little small speck out there?
And because it's a mental game. So not only
Wow.
is the biggest continent on the planet
Yeah, huge.
black, but the people in it are stupid. So you're black and stupid, and the size of it, they can't give you anything. Even William Shatner, when he went up in the spaceship, the other day, when you see images from space of the actual world, the actual planet Earth, you be saying, "Wow, God, look at that big old thing there. That's Africa." Yeah. Europe looks kind of small when you look at what's below it, and see the thing about it, all those European countries up there got all the economy, they got all the smart folks. In Africa, just got all those dumb black folks in there. You see what I'm saying? And that's been the mantra, and
decades.
That for centuries. And as a people, there's not been a lot that we can do about it because we don't write the books, we don't edit the books, we don't publish the books, and most of this stuff is knowledge that's coming out of the books. But see what's happening now. A lot of stuff is electronic. And you can put 2 and 2 together. My problem is I put 2 and 2 together and I still come up with 4. I don't come up with 5 or 6 or 12
Eddie, you
or
just
1.
You just need to study that Common Core math. You'll get it.
I'm just saying. See, so a lot of times when I tell you people, not to just listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Go look it up.
Look it up. Yeah, figure it out. Find out. Because there's certain things that haven't changed in thousands of years.
And Eddie, to that, saying to look it up, if you can't find it on Google, which is everybody's main right side of the brain nowadays, go to DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo, another web browser, they're not going to limit the information. You can go find out stuff going on in the news right now on DuckDuckGo you're not going to find on Google.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
And so, to continue my conversation, I went to the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner last night. They had an excellent speaker who was a brother of Omega Psi Phi. He was a Q-Dog. Some of the things he said were excellent bits of information that I knew wasn't general knowledge, because I could look around the audience and look at people's faces in wonder about some of the stuff he said. And I'm just going to recap a little bit. I'm not going to try to redo the whole speech, because the speech was almost an hour. But I'm going to tell you what I took from it. That was real important. That kind of flew in the face of 300 or 400 years of Americanization. See, all y'all thought the Civil War was about black folks and white folks. Now, I'm going to tell you what he said. And I agree 100%. The Civil War was about money. It was about the same thing every other war has ever been. It's about the 1%. See, you had the 1% in the North that had industry. They had factories and warehouses, products that were being manufactured to be used all over the world. Now, them the rich white folks in the North. Then you got the rich white folks in the South who got property. They got land. They're growing stuff. They're agricultural. And the difference between the building and the industrial folks in the North and the folks in the South was labor. They had labor issues and problems with folks in the North. But see, a lot of them folks were Italians, Polish, Germans. You know, those are the other generation of immigrants that, you know, that now all of a sudden they good Americans now, because all those folks were white. It was easy for them to deal with them becoming part of the population, even though they came over as immigrants and worked in many of those factories. Came from Europe, got established, worked in the factory, got a good factory job, made some good money, helped make the 1% richer. In the South, they went to Africa and got free labor to take the tobacco and the cotton and the fruit this and the fruit that and take all this stuff out of the ground and take it and put it in a form that could be sold readily. So if you look at the dollars and cents, the South had an agricultural economy, and the North had a manufacturing economy. So you can kind of see how all them good rich white folks got together and say, okay, my way is better than your way. See, that's why it became about dollars and cents. And since they were both white, you know, they didn't have to bow down to either one. And I tell you what, we go to war. I'm gonna slap the hell out of you. That was one white guy said to the other white guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when they start slapping each other, then eventually you get into guns and cannons and
It progresses, you said.
and everything else. So next thing you know, we got a civil war on our hand, in which everybody think we fighting about saving Negroes. We fighting about getting black folks out of the fields, and it was good because black folks believed it. I mean, everybody wanted to be important. Yeah, they fighting to save us. Save us from who? Them two white men fighting. they may be fighting over us, but they fighting over us working for free forever. That's what the fight's about. One can go without because I'm gonna tell you something else a lot of folks don't realize and haven't thought about. A lot of them black folks who went to the north, guess what? They went to the north and went straight to the factory. So they became laborers in the factory. Oh, but that's better than being a laborer in the field. Bullshit. Excuse me. Bull crap. You're a laborer. It's the labor industry that folks been trying to get free labor forever. Everywhere on the planet there's ever been free labor, it's been slavery. Because on your own, you ain't gonna work for somebody for free. You'll work for yourself, but you getting something out of it. I'm gonna go have somebody beat me to death, day in and day out, beat me till I can't speak, walk, talk, do anything. Just beat the hell out of me constantly. And then one day I die, and the guy who takes my place, they beat the hell out of them. I'm just saying, if you visualize this as a concept of building a country, building a nation, and a lot of them roam, Japan, China. I mean, it's been done all over the Asian world,
Still going on, ain't it?
all over the Arab world. That's the way nations are built. It's no different here, except in the middle of all this, they had a gnat. You know what a gnat is? A gnat is one of them little teeny pestering fly, not the big fly, the little teeny fly. A gnat got into the works in America and gave the big agricultural complex a complex against each other. And of course, at the end of the day, Sherman, and when I gave you guys the 40 acres and a mule story, when Sherman came through the South with the Union Army, destroying, burning, depleting the resources of the Confederacy, which was his job. After he left, after he finished with an area, hundreds, thousands of black slaves. See, this is some stuff I didn't see in the history book. Joined the Union Army. So not only are we depleting the Confederates' goods and services and products and resources, but one of their resources is becoming one of our resources, the Union Army. So a lot of the blacks, and they got, you got to talk about millions of blacks in the South. And some of them fought for the Confederate Army, but not many. But when Sherman came through, he found his ranks inflating exponentially for new soldiers with guns and will to win. Will to win. They're no longer fighting for the master, they're fighting for themselves. And Sherman instilled that into his troops and say, you guys are Americans, and we're going to treat you like Americans. As Derek Johnson said last night, when President Abraham Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation, what he did, he said, if y'all want to be Americans, see, this is kind of way back in the day where they should have started saying African American, but they didn't. They were still black. They were still Negroes. You know, we're gonna give you your freedom. That's why he had to sign a piece of paper say y'all are now free. That took 2.5 years just to go from Washington D.C. to Galveston, Texas, which was the frontier for the American country at that time. So black folks actually had something to fight for. They're fighting for their freedom, even though they were being used as pawns in this much bigger economic battle that was going on between the North and the South.
It's still going on today, Eddie. It's still being used as pawns.
Yeah. But you know, but what I'm trying to do is fill in some of the holes.
That's a lot of information,
You know,
Eddie.
that the history books didn't tell, and I didn't see, and I didn't read, you know, till I was 30, 40, 50 years
It's
old.
still not going to change
You
it.
know,
They're going to
you
keep
know.
hiding it.
Yeah, but see, what they did wrong, they got a Negro with a platform. Don't that. I'm gonna tell you something. The reason I do this, it may be one young black female or one young black male that hear me saying this, and it inspires them to go look up some of this stuff
And make a change for the better.
and start thinking. Start thinking.
Oh,
You know,
Eddie,
start
come on
thinking.
now.
Start thinking.
You're pushing it now, Eddie.
Putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 4 for themselves
No, you're pushing it now.
without someone telling them.
That is against the narrative being preached today from the radio
Well,
and TV
and church
and politicians.
and church. You know, so a lot of this
Ooh,
stuff,
Eddie, you
a lot of this
low now.
stuff you're not gonna get,
You're low.
and that's why it's important that I use my platform, this platform, radio, these airwaves, to give you information. Porch Talk Radio.
Sharing the gospel.
Give you information
Truth.
that may inspire you
Break free.
to be more than anybody ever told you you can be. I'm just telling
That's
you.
awesome.
I'm just telling you. Because we, as young black folks, males and female, come from a system where our parents, you ain't going to be nothing more than your daddy.
Boy.
And a lot of them didn't know who their daddies were.
Still today.
You stupid. You got so many they got a list of undesirable qualities. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the different things that we used to call, our parents used to call. You know, those are folks in your home. Those are people you ate and slept with. And you know everybody else call you everything else.
Yeah.
So to fight through all that, you had to be something special.
And make it through.
Yeah. We got a caller, and again, we're trying to give out some information. So welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this fine Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Eddie.
Yes.
This is Frank in Tampa.
Hey, Frank.
Hadn't talked to you guys in a while. I just wanted to add a couple of things to what you were saying. First of all, the whole issue about slavery is about labor. From
Yes.
the beginning of man's time, we've had an issue with labor. How do you compensate somebody fairly, or how do I get your labor free?
Right.
Going back to Adam, labor has been an issue. All we're seeing today, in all Atlantic slave trade and the other 40 places around the world today where slavery exists, all stem from the same thing.
Yes.
How do I get something from you without having to compensate you fairly for it?
Right.
Slavery always existed, will always exist, because it's a human condition issue. That's one thing. Second thing, America is kind of a piece where the white people ended up writing and telling the story.
Yes.
The story was designed to benefit whoever the storyteller was. So you were talking about Egypt earlier. Egypt and Asia were two dominant places in the world. When the Caucasian came in and tried to understand what it was that they were doing, how did they figure all this stuff out? They have the Library of Alexandria that had all kinds of stuff about the knowledge of man. It had to be destroyed by the Caucasians who didn't understand it.
Right.
Some of the most spiritually based, creative people in the world in India, which is part of Asia, and China. White people didn't understand what they were doing. And so they had to destroy things, to cover up things, to tell the story from their perspective, and steal what they could to make it seem like they were the smart people.
Right.
So, at some point, you destroy the Library of Alexandria in Egypt, where the black people were, who were the ones designing everything. And you ended up kind of, the darker complected people are always shunned by the Caucasians. So, you had Indonesia, black, Asians, Indians, darker complected, and then Africans. All of these are countries that are close to the equator. And so the Caucasian is to the north, and obviously a lighter complected person. So they had to do things to destroy where knowledge was coming from. But here's another little piece. In the setting up of the Americas, we have come to find that the Cherokee Indians are actually Jews from Israel, or a connection to Jews from Israel. They came along somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2,000 years ago, and they brought the Ark of the Covenant with them, supposedly brought the Ark of the Covenant with them. So as they were now coming down, they landed later in what was known as the Great River dividing the east and west, the Mississippi River. The reason why Arkansas is called Arkansas is because that's where the Indians believed the Ark got buried. Now, Kansas was a group of Indians. So the Kansas Indians with the Ark, which is the reason why the name Arkansas exists, because the Ark of the Covenant, the Jews supposedly brought it over here, and that's why that state is named Arkansas. It goes back 2,000 years ago. History that you generally don't hear told. Last thing, I was on a big development downtown.
Thank you.
In the process,
I was saying thank you.
last thing I'll say.
Okay, go
We
ahead.
have to do right where USF Medical Center is and Bennington's and all that stuff. We have to do a historic dig. We found arrowheads that go back 9,000 years on that site. So when you were talking about the Nina Independence Santa Maria, when that was all done as part of that voyage, know that there was a guy by the name of Stefano Scanegro, Stephen the Black guy, who had been here before them and showed them the way. And so they ended up coming and landing at Egmont Key, and originally came into what is now downtown Tampa, and unloaded all the European animals, pigs, the horses, chickens, all that kind of stuff. And what is now downtown Tampa was kind of a landing point for the first Europeans that came here, because they knew how to get here from the Africans who had been here before. They thought that if it went up the Atlantic to the north, it just fell off the face of the earth. So 65 years later was when they stopped at St. Augustine, thinking that if they continue going, it was going to go off the face of the earth, because the whole thing was the earth was flat. So all of the domestic animals, European animals, all came in through originally what is now downtown Tampa.
Wow.
Guided by Africans who knew how to get here.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to add that little piece to your discussion today.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Frank is a very, very knowledgeable person, and he always adds to our show. And thank you for that, Frank.
Awesome, Frank.
Thank you.
I
Okay,
didn't know that.
we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this fine Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Okay. Yes. What you're doing, you're teaching critical race theory. What are you doing? Well, I'm just saying that because that's part of what we've been trying to say for the people who for critical race theory is to just correct history for the rightness. From understand Christopher Columbus, he never stepped foot on his continent. He only went to today's Puerto Rico, Cuba, and Dominican Republic, and this
Right.
is why they speak Spanish, even though he was Italian.
Right.
And another thing, also too, the very first named university that I have heard of, and then I learned this, of course, in college at Florida State University, I learned that the very first university was Timbuktu. We all know that name,
Yes.
which is in Africa.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure if it's in Egypt, but it's in Africa.
Yes.
And those are the things in which we are trying to say. And we already knew. Matter of fact, I heard something yesterday where you could go to just about every continent, and you can find an African that was there thousands of years ago, from
Yes.
Australia
Yes.
to Asian, and you'll find them in the Himalayas and everything. You'll find, and they have the same facial features, the same. And see what gives it away is our pelo. Now, what is pelo, y'all? I'm pretty sure one of y'all there is Spanish. Pelo, our hair.
That's
Our
why.
hair gives it away, and our
Pinky
nose
hair.
gives it away.
That's why I'm talking about the braids. That's why I'm talking about the braids.
Yep. So, and this is, well, from my understanding, is that they didn't want us to know. They didn't want us to know, and then it keeps us down and it keeps us working. Now, one thing about the war is that now when they did go to the factories, from my understanding, is that they did get paid. So you might say there's no difference from working in the field and working in the factory. Well, you still are your own person, though. Even if you didn't get paid, I would rather go somewhere where I could work free and I could go home and you don't rape my wife and you don't rape my even though they still continue to do it in the North too, rape my wife and rape my sister and rape my mother and stuff like that. And not only that, now a lot of people don't talk about this now. They also rape men. You got to see, like, homosexuality is not new. It's not new. So I heard they also rape men. So that's just a part of history. And and I always take it back to the word shame. Shame is a big thing. Shame is a big thing. If you're gonna shame my people, I don't want to hear about it. You're shaming my people, so I don't want you to tell that to everybody that my people did this. It's because shame is big. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm gonna add to what the brother was just saying. Then we gotta go and do the on this day. But I'm not sure how many of you black folks out there are world travelers. But as you go around the world, including parts of Asia, South America, all over North America, in the mountains, you find statues that are thousands of years old. And what they did, everybody's familiar with the Sphinx in Egypt. Over hundreds of years, different white crusaders go to places and find out before they got there that there were black, kinky-headed, wide-nosed, folks had been there long before they had came and gone and died and left the statue to say they was there. And so I guess they thought that, bombing, cutting off braids where possible and distorting the face so you couldn't make out that wide nose that black folks traditionally have, whether you're from Africa, from other parts of the world, but one of the signs of being black as a people is wide nose. And so that was, it wasn't a joke. It was you go to parts of Asia. I've been to Asia. They got giant Buddha statues carved in the mountains. And right next to them, they got figures of black folks with the nose blowing off. I'm just saying. Now, they didn't blow off the Buddha's nose.
No.
But those statues are those black folks who may have been there before those Buddhas were there, have had their nose blown off as a sign of superiority. That's what it's all about. And when the brother was saying, they rape black males, they rape black males as a sign of superiority. That's demasculizing any race of people.
Sure.
To have the men dominated by other men. That was part of the whole war scenario in every different culture there was.
Physical and psychological.
Right. To completely destroy your enemy, physically and psychologically.
Still happening today.
Yes. All right. Well, let's do this on this day thing. Porch Talk Radio. As I told you, we were gonna have a great show today.
Woo.
And you know, we just jumped on some things and
Lots of
we
information,
said some stuff and we put some stuff out there.
Look it up.
And again, critical race theory. You know, I'm telling y'all, this is not critical race theory. This is everyday, simple. How much time you want to spend getting the real history, and it's out there.
Yep.
And like I say, you know, places in South America, places in Asia, you know, places all over Africa, all over Europe, you know, they got these giant statues. So it's kind of like I'm leaving my signature. You know, I was here. You know, like you know, during World War II, they had these things. You know, and so and so was here. Well, black folks were there, and there's ways historically that they left marks that have not been feuded. You can't. It's kind of hard. You come to this place right above the dinosaur bones. You know, and this black man and black woman with braids and flat nose and all this other stuff, and even though you say, well, we can't tell, you know, because you know wasn't nothing left but the bones. There's bone structure. There's tools that was left that are not native to the soil that they're found in. So they came from somewhere else.
Okay.
So again, I ain't trying to upset, you know, white folks, you know, but
Bring the truth.
but it is what it is. So anyway, on this day, October the 16th, October 16th, 1793, during the French Revolution, Queen Marie Antoinette, see this is something, even the white books, I mean, some parts of history, you know, everybody got, so I kind of, you know, every now and then I run across something and I just remind folks, you know, so this actually did happen. During the French Revolution, Queen Marie Antoinette was beheaded after being convicted of treason. Yes. On this day, October the 16th, 1829, in Boston, Massachusetts, the first hotel in America opened.
Okay.
The Tremont Hotel. It had 170 rooms that rented for $2 a day, and it included 4 meals.
That's
So
better,
so you got 3 meals and a snack.
that's better than a no-tell motel, Eddie.
and that was in 1829. On this day, October the 16th, in 1859, this is another guy I read about in school. You know, they never tell you the real story. But abolitionist John Brown, who was a white guy, led the raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia. Now, Harper's Ferry is now located in West Virginia. And John Brown is one of those historical figures in American history, and you can always look him up, because he was a white preacher. And he felt that slavery was biblically wrong to treat and act toward your fellow human being
Okay, yeah.
the way they was treating blacks.
Right.
And last but not least, you know, for the day, I have one for everybody's favorite white person. On this day, October 16th, in 1916, Margaret Sanger opened the first birth control clinic in New York City, New York.
In a black neighborhood, I'm sure.
There you go.
Woof, man.
Gabriel.
And they're still killing them out left and right.
Gabriel.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and hit. If you are a strong follower of the fraud Dr. Fauci, don't forget to wear a thick coat this winter so the person next to you doesn't freeze to death. So, as we go forward, if you believe in the science of masks, but not the science of life beginning at conception, then you do not believe in science. You believe in a political ideology. There is a difference, folks. Oh, by the way, another lie from our government. There is no federal vaccine mandate. You heard me right. There's no executive order. There is no federal regulation. It was a press release. That's all it was. And meanwhile, the lying capitalist of Southwest, the CEO, said he never wanted COVID vaccine mandates, but Biden forced his hand. Biden didn't do anything. It was a press release. So meanwhile, you see people wearing the T-shirt with Che or Chi, the guy from Cuba. Students nowadays in colleges think he's just the stuff.
Yep.
But basically, he murdered teachers, artists, blacks, and homosexuals. But the left still longs for his revolution, wearing his T-shirt, giving him glory. How stupid can we be, folks? Please go look it up. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving isn't getting vaccinated to protest people losing their jobs over mandates that don't exist. New York Times also wants to put out that they had a correction. They had over 900,000 kids who were hospitalized because of COVID. Oh, they lied by 845,000. They came back and said, oops, we got the wrong numbers in there. Now, for those who say peace and power to the people, that's a nice socialist phrase, isn't it? Socialism is not about helping the poor and needy. Socialism is about destroying the concept of personal responsibility so people can take what they haven't earned. Wow. Now here we go. Back to this COVID thing. Imagine, if you will, there is a 99.97% chance you won't shit in your pants. But you're forced to wear diapers just in case. Now imagine you must wear these diapers to prevent your neighbors from pooping in their pants as well. That's exactly what we're doing today, folks. Stupidity is gone rampant. By the way, if you see me talking to myself, just move along. I'm self-employed. We're having a staff meeting. And then finally, CNN just put this out. CNN says the death rate for COVID of vaxxed people is 0.001%. Then CNN said the death rate for unvaxxed is 25 times higher. That would make it 0.025%. Oh my God! Will you be willing to take your chances with that? Woo, Eddie.
All right. Well, again, I got to go back to something and maybe explain it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Male animals, pack of wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understand alpha.
Oh yeah.
Is the alpha is the biggest, baddest, toughest wolf in the pack.
And we'll kill for it.
And every now and then, there may be a male who suits himself to be bigger and better than the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So in animals, a male having sex with another male
To prove dominance.
is a sign of dominance. It's domination, not homosexuality, which somehow, I've heard people, say, I've heard some gays say, well, animals do it. They do it for a completely different message is being sent to the other animals. Anyway, until next week, same bat time, same bat station, Tampa Bay. We love you. We hope to be back and do the same thing again. Until then, bye bye.
God bless America.
See ya.